Parliament passes bill to give effect to the Eastern Caribbean Asset Management Corporation. Defendants denied extension in Blair Court property case, and reporting mechanisms strengthened for dangerous non-food items. I'm Idona Jean-Baptiste of the Channel 5 News. Details coming up. First up, the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court has denied an application for a stay of an order by Justice Errol Thomas for appellants in the Blair Court property development case to pay costs to businessman Reneth Alexis. The issue had to do with trespassing involving Atherton Mate, Dr. Clayton Shillingford, Sever Mackenzie, and Joan Etienne.
Justice Thomas ruled that Martin, Mackenzie, and Etienne each must pay Alexis $1,500 by way of damages for trespass since they entered at least one villa. The judge ruled that Dr. Shillingford and Frederick Barron must pay $1,000 each to the claimant. Additionally, Thomas ruled that each claimant must pay $5,000 in exemplary damages. Martin and the others filed an appeal 48 days out of time and needed the court's permission to proceed, but by order of a single judge, that was denied and they appealed. But after listening to the judge's comments, lawyer for the parties Cara Shillingford withdrew the appeal for the stay and proceeded with the appeal on the extension of time. She said her case would center on the exemplary damages, which was awarded with no reason given by the trial judge. But in response, Heather Felix Evans asked the court to deny the extension of time, saying that they were seeking to gain political advantage when they trespassed on the property of the respondents.
The substantive matter has to be heard at the Court of Appeal at some point. Significantly, the stay which she requested, because there's a judgment from the court below, which is against the defendants, and the defendants have to pay the judgment debt. And she had requested a stay of the proceedings so that they do not pay the judgment debt until they appeal the effect of her withdrawal. And in any case, they said even if she had proceeded, they would not have granted the stay. So it means now that they have to pay the judgment debt. If at the Court of Appeal, the decision is overturned, then the claimant will have to repay the money. But for all intents and purposes, once an order is made, it must be complied with unless a higher court grants a stay, and that stay was refused.
That debt is 1.5, right? That's a 1.5.
No, 6.5 per 6.5.
30,000 we're talking about.
Yeah, cumulatively it's 30. Yeah, cumulatively, but it's really not 30,000 because each defendant has to pay 6.5.
Now, do they have a time frame?
We've already filed judgment summons, so we are before the High Court for enforcement. Absolutely, absolutely. The appeal is not done. I mean, we're going forward, and we may also examine whether we have grounds for cross-appeal.
But the Court of Appeal indicated that the respondents' costs should be paid by the applicants, insofar as the applicants had a duty to file a notice of appeal within the 42 days time limit. However, the Court of Appeal will be hearing the appeal, probably at the next sitting of the Court of Appeal. 1.5, there's no time limit on paying the cost.
So you all would have to pay the 1.5?
Yes. I am very satisfied. I think it's for the cost of justice, insofar as there are clearly merits on the appeal, there were clearly errors in the judgment, and the judgment will be reconsidered by the Court of Appeal.
In more top stories, Parliament has taken the country another step closer to economic union in the region after passing a bill to give legal effect to the Eastern Caribbean Asset Management Corporation.
Before Parliament adjourned sine die Tuesday, Acting Prime Minister Dr. John Colin McIntyre pointed to the implications of the 2008 global financial crisis and why it was necessary to pass legislation to give the Asset Management Corporation legal authority to take action to reduce bad assets and ensure a strong banking sector. All member states of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union must endorse the new piece of legislation as part of their commitment to a unified economic space. Trade Minister Ian Douglas echoed the sentiment, saying the new law was key to obtaining a single economy. The ECAMC is expected to assist banks in the management of non-performing assets because, as he put it, when banks fail, the depositors are the real victims, a view already expressed by Prime Minister Skerrit earlier this year when he met with stakeholders to apprise them of plans for a new banking act in the context of economic union and the single market and economy. The Trade Minister said such stability and security would make the region more attractive to foreign investors. Members of the opposition were mostly in support of the measure, but they also expressed concern that the taxpayer would be responsible to fund this organization to the tune of $40 million for its initial capitalization, instead of the private corporations who engage in risky dealings. They also suggested the bill be delayed for adequate consultation, claiming they had little time to prepare to discuss the 107-article document. They also suggested that there should be greater focus on job creation and stimulation of the economy, which would, in their view, deter delinquency. The government side emphasized that this measure was timely, representing government's concern for the poor and their money in light of the losses suffered by clients of Clico and British American. The government side said it was their responsibility to protect depositors' money and maintain confidence in the banking system by providing guidelines for the banking sector. Prime Minister Skerrit told Parliament in May that the new Banking Act would ensure that depositor savings were secured.
An accident at Moorpark on Monday night has claimed the life of a 78-year-old woman. Claren George of Moorpark was pronounced dead at the Portsmouth Hospital after the vehicle she was driving crashed. Investigations into the cause of the accident are ongoing.
The collision occurred about 7 p.m. on Monday, 9th November 2015 at Moorpark. At the time of the collision, Claren was a driver of Honda HRV registration number P0476, which collided with a wall while she was negotiating a bend on the Lawi-Bannan Road. The police extend sympathies to the family and friends of the late Claren George, female, 78 years old, of Moorpark.
Meantime, passengers of Monday's two vehicles smash-up at Razad, Pishley, where a bus flipped over, can count their lucky stars. Police are reporting there were no serious injuries in that 7:50 a.m. accident. It involved a Toyota passenger bus driven by Billy Hector of Grand Bay and a Toyota car driven by Janaya Henry of Grand Bay.
The bus was traveling towards Grand Bay and the car traveling towards Bellevue-Chupin when the motor vehicles collided. As a result, the bus flipped over onto its roof. The bus was transporting 3 staff members and 9 students of the Pierre Charles Secondary School. 2 teachers were transported to the accident and emergency department of the British American Hospital, where they were seen by a doctor and discharged. The other passengers were transported to the Grand Bay Health Center, where they were seen by a doctor and discharged. Neither of the drivers were injured.
In other major developments, an increase in incident reporting of dangerous non-food items is expected following increased awareness on a rapid alert system for CARICOM. CAREX, a consumer product incident reporting system of CARICOM, will allow local companies involved in importing products to report problems experienced with products that prove to be dangerous to people's health or safety. Managers of major supermarkets were sensitized about the system at a Ministry of Trade and CARICOM organized workshop last month.
It was launched in Dominica sometime in, I think, 2011 it was. But since then, there was a need to update persons, update those participants who are mainly business persons and well, private and public sector participants as it relates to where we are now on the CAREX. Is it operationalized? Can you be able to log into the system and indicate goods that you feel may be dangerous so that other member states can be so acquainted to their acceptance. At this present moment, the portal can be engaged by some of them who are considered to be economic operators, and so they can begin to go into the website and lodge lodge complaints if necessary.
This is all in the bid to strengthen consumer protection affairs on island.
Those economic operators would be companies on the ground here in Dominica that were given passwords and usernames to access the system. So we sent that information to the CARICOM Secretariat, and they were supposed to make contact with those companies and give them the prerequisite passwords to be able to enter the system. The glitch, if that is the word to use, I would say what has not been done as yet is to put in place the public portal. So this is what they're working on now. And this portal now would allow for any member of the public then to be able to access the system and to begin to make to put forward their complaints or you know, as it relates to certain or to those dangerous non-good items. So non-food items. So this is where we are.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, the latest on the DSC's plans to train locals to work at five-star hotels. Thanks for staying tuned. A hospitality training facility is among State College plans as the institution prepares for an internship program with international hotel investors. Management of DSC has agreed to partner with these hotel developers to train locals to work at their resorts proposed for the island. The first will be with Range Developments, which will build the Cabrit Resort Kempinski in the north.
In the next 4 years, Dominica will see the building of at least 4 new hotels, or 3, and one of them is the luxury hotel in Kempinski in Cabrit. Now, you will understand that if you go into luxury hotels, the quality of your staff has to be at the very top. And in Dominica, I didn't believe that we would find the necessary people credentialed to work in the hotel, so we offered our services to train the future workers of Range of the hotel, all of the hotels. Well, in terms of Kempinski and Range, that involves currently the training of students in all of the areas: front desk, receptionist, food and beverage, and housekeeping.
A new building of the campus constructed under the Chinese project has been identified as the training division.
We've already set out the area, we've designed it, we'll send it to them, and they will design and equip those areas to train them. But if you're going to train people in housekeeping, you have to have beds so they can make the bed and do it. So that will be there. Training them to be in the culinary arts, we'll have a kitchen, teaching them how to bake, a sous chef, etc. We put in a floor and put all of those things in there.
Overseas training would be another aspect of the program.
Students who are currently here and those who have graduated will be sent to all over the world where Kempinski has their hotels. And Range would pay for them to go, and Kempinski would give them a salary while they're training. They will get the skills necessary at a five-star hotel to understand how to manage and work at a five-star hotel in Dominica. So we're excited about this. The process for training them, for selecting them, will be established by the college, and in the first instance we intend to send 25 of them different parts of the world: Europe, the Mediterranean. All depends on the funding institutions, Range and Kempinski. So as they make the funding available, we'll have the students ready to go.
Still on education, a 6% completion of the Universal Early Childhood Education program will depend on how quickly the education sector bounces back from Storm Erika's impact. The Ministry of Education launched the Universal Early Childhood Education program in 2012, seeking to create access for children aged 3 to 5 to attend an early childhood center or preschool before receiving a formal primary school education. 94% of that access has been achieved to date. Early Childhood Development Month is being observed in November.
We are trying as much as possible to increase access. And yes, our program Universal Access to Early Childhood Education still continues. We have over 90% coverage now with our preschools. However, with Erika, what has happened with Erika, I know we have to review what is on the what we have planned and really look at what is most critical now.
So far, 6 centers have been built. Still on the cards are centers at Warner, Concord, and Wharton Waven. In the meantime, Pishley Preschool is based at Grand Bay, Collio Preschool at the Dubla Primary School, Kulibistri at the Salisbury Primary School. The Dailies Preschool is being housed at the Dailies Youth Center, while Petit Savan Preschool is at the Ministry of Education's Bath Estate office.
There are a lot of things that we need to rectify before we can probably build new centers. However, we are not stopping there. We will try as much as possible to increase access in areas where there is no access. So for example, I can tell you this year, Maho has moved into the Maho Primary School. We have upgraded the Maho Primary School.
Men are being put on the spotlight as the Bureau of Gender Affairs reaches out to victims of Tropical Storm Erika.
When the tropical storm affected Dominica in August, the severe landslides and flooding caused massive damage to the country. As a result, many people were rendered jobless as their farmlands and means of income were washed away. The Bureau of Gender Affairs is playing its part in ensuring men are once more able to provide for the home.
Because we are aware that a number of men have lost their livelihoods. We are also aware a number of women have lost their livelihoods. So as I said before, we want to engage more men in the whole, in moving forward with our agenda of gender equality and equity. So in terms of the psychosocial support, we plan to integrate men in that program because a number of the men, of course, mostly the providers. And so if their livelihoods are affected, then it also means that the dependents are affected, their girlfriends and their children, their wives.
The Bureau is also ensuring that support is provided for a cross-section of people negatively impacted by the tropical storm.
We are aware that in times of crisis and emergencies that women's vulnerability increases, although they may be in shelters, although provisions may be made to ensure their security, the social aspects, you may have other social issues which are likely to increase, particularly violence against women and children in terms of their vulnerabilities to sexual violence, to domestic violence, to teen pregnancy, to transactional sex, because of course you'd have lost livelihood. So we plan in collaboration with a number of our partners like UN Women, UNFPA, to implement some livelihood recovery projects. Also, sexual and reproductive health is a major component of our response to Erica.
The Bureau of Gender Affairs will be undertaking a social mobilization campaign which aims to increase Dominicans' awareness, knowledge, and response to gender-based violence.
And the case for a jetty in the community of Soufriere has been brought before a regional funding entity.
When Tropical Storm Erica hit in August, the landslides in the southwest made road access to Soufriere impossible for 2 days. Chairman of the Soufriere Village Council made the suggestion of a jetty in the Soufriere community as a means of access to the area during future events where roads to that community are rendered impassable. At a recently held Caribbean Aquaterrestrial Solutions CATS conference, the proposal was made for a jetty in Soufriere.
But as chairperson, I understand the plight of the people and what is needed. And Soufriere is in dire need, taking in consideration the area is a volcanic area, so you are threatened by land, threatened by sea, no escape. And so if there is any disaster taking place on land, you have to think of how do you get the people out, because with the landslides that comes down in the Soufriere community, once that comes down, you saw it in Erica, you have seen it before. Anytime we have landslides, anytime we have heavy rainfall and flash floods, the Soufriere road is blocked, and post-Erica is worse.
CATS, a German-funded organization, aims to promote sustainable development of the marine environment and reduce water pollution by coordinating the use and management of land and water from the ridge to the reef.
The most important thing is for the people that they have responsible for putting the projects together, to put a very good project together in respect to having a jetty and having it ASAP, as soon as possible. It's an urgent need. If the money that you invest in CATS have to reap any benefits, you have to invest in a jetty in the Soufriere community. There's no questions about that. You can't just get people to just throw money on you if you're not showing that you yourself care about what goes on in your environment.
In August, CATS provided relief supplies to the communities of Soufriere, Galliot, and Scottshead immediately following the passage of Tropical Storm Erica. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Your sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
We kick off on the field for cricket. Windward's Volcanoes lost to Guyana by 104 runs to close off their 4-day tournament on Monday. Guyana was elected to bat first, scoring 362 all out in 129.4 overs in their first innings. Chandrika scored over a century for Guyana to help put his team in the lead. Meantime, Volcano's right-arm off-break bowler Shane Shillingford took 6 wickets, with his team scoring 228 all-out in their first innings. Jacobs claimed 4 for Guyana, Guyana collecting 95 all-out in their second innings. Shillingford claimed 5 more wickets for Volcanoes, with Volcanoes replying 125 all-out. The Dominican-based team is expected to face Jamaica for their next match on Friday. Still in cricket, President of the Dominica Softball Cricket Association, Heston Charles, says despite delays caused by Tropical Storm Erica, the league should resume towards the end of November.
But we are not daunted. We're still going to have the knockout. I want to say to all the softball clubs out there, look out for the knockout because it should start sometime towards the last week of November. We may just use 2 playing fields to facilitate the hosting of the knockout tournament. It may be a 10 over tournament. The 10 over is even more exciting than the 20 over. We may just go into the 10 over format of this tournament.
He says the game is open to both sexes and has been developing well.
We will be seeing, hopefully, other countries such as America. First time in Dominica, we're going to have American clubs coming to our country to participate in a softball cricket festival. So we will have a team from Washington, D.C. We will have a team from New York. We will have a team from Cayman Islands and 2 teams from Trinidad that have already confirmed their participation throughout the Easter holidays on the island of Dominica.
Charles remains confident that hosting those teams next year will benefit Dominica's economy. We move now to football. A FIFA official is expected to be in Dominica on Tuesday to assess the damage caused on football by the passage of Tropical Storm Erica. Football-related infrastructure suffered severe damage after the storm and was estimated at over 1.5 million US.
And he's going to look at the goal project in particular, because this goal project has been pending and because of several damage from America. And we had, before America, we had works to be done there in terms of the grassing, in terms of the lighting at this goal project. So we had submitted all this competition to people. This rapid speed playing field, it's going to cost a lot of money here. I think we will, from our end, at the end, we will ask for a contribution. There's a program under the special release program from people. Maybe we can get some money to help us in doing some work at that field. And we'll also look at the Douglas and we'll look at commercial playing field and request some form of assistance under the release funds from people to help us in restoring some of the playing field and we can continue using it for our football.
A comprehensive report will be put together after the assessment, and the Dominica Football Association will request assistance from FIFA. In some more football, the secondary schools football championships will resume on Wednesday after being delayed by rain. Portsmouth Secondary will have home advantage when they go head-to-head with Northeast Comprehensive for an under-15 match. Goodwill Secondary will go up against Pierre Charles at Portersville, also in an under-15 match. Both matches are cadded for 2 p.m. Meantime, the Isaiah Thomas Secondary will take on St. John's Academy for an under-17 game at Portsmouth. Goodwill Secondary will clash against Pierre Charles for a match in the under-17 category. These games are to begin at 3:30 p.m. We'll bring you the results from these games in a subsequent sportscast. That's all the time we have for sports. Join us next time.
A tropical wave is expected to move across the area on Thursday. More details in the weather report.
Good evening, viewers, and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. Improved weather conditions were observed today across Dominica and the islands to the central and northern portions of the Lesser Antilles, while instability associated with the trough system continued to influence the weather conditions across the islands to the south. Today's visible satellite imagery showed just a few low-level clouds which moved across Dominica, resulting in fair to partly cloudy skies. There was an influx in Saharan dust haze following the passage of the trough system, which reduced horizontal visibility across the area. Radar imagery indicated a few isolated showers across our area, while showers and thunderstorm activity were observed across the islands to the south of the chain. Tonight's weather is expected to be fair to partly cloudy, hazy and breezy with a few scattered showers. These conditions are expected to persist into tomorrow. Sea conditions tomorrow will be moderate in open water with waves peaking near 8 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers, please continue to exercise some caution. And our 72-hour surface protection pulls the axis of a tropical wave to the west of the southern portion of the Lesser Antilles. As a result of this, instability will generate partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers on Thursday. A relative improvement in conditions are expected thereafter. And across the Lesser Antilles tomorrow, fair to partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers are expected across the central and northern portions of the chain, while showers and thunderstorm activity are expected across the islands to the south. And across our international cities, no significant change in conditions are expected, with some rain in New York, partly cloudy skies in Miami, overcast skies in London and Beijing, and thunderstorm activity in Caracas. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:06 a.m. and will set at 5:33 p.m. For further information, call the weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thank you for joining us this evening. Have a good night.
That's news to end the news. The headlines again. Parliament passes bill to give effect to the Eastern Caribbean Asset Management Corporation. Defendants denied extension in Blackcourt property case, and reporting mechanisms strengthened for dangerous non-food items. Email us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on Marpin's YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Idona John Baptist. Thanks for watching.